Brilliance Audio presents An Artificial Light by Petra Durst-Benning, performed by Kathleen Gatti. Mimi all but floated into her Uncle Joseph's house, her feet barely touching the floor. It wasn't the success of the Pentecost market that had her on cloud nine. Rather, it was Hannes, the man she hadn't been able to get out of her mind since they'd first met nearly 2 months before in Ulm. The man who'd found his way into her dreams. Mimi still could not believe that he'd come for her. When he appeared at the market, as if from nowhere, just minutes before, her joy at seeing him again had nearly made her faint. Given everything stacked against them, she'd almost lost hope of ever seeing him again. Yet here he was in Laichingen, because of her. Even though in Ulm he'd made it very clear to her that he was finished with his hometown, that he'd never set foot there again. She hadn't known then that Hannes was originally from Laichingen. For her sake, he'd evidently put his resolution aside, she thought happily. She cheerfully tended to her uncle, fatigued by the busy market. He only wanted to rest, and helped him to bed. Then she got ready to go to sleep. Hannes had said that he would come to her as soon as possible. But when would that be? Mimi wondered as she lay in bed. Now that she knew he was close by, she could hardly bear her sense of longing. She sighed and snuggled deeper under her blanket. Their first meeting in Ulm had felt predestined. The evening they had spent in each other's company had been marked by an intensity that Mimi had never known. To be with someone else, or to be free. For Mimi, freedom had always come first. But now, with Hannes, she could imagine almost anything. It was 8 in the morning, and her uncle was still asleep when she heard a soft knock at the front door, which faced the back garden. Mimi, unable to sleep and out of bed since 6, knew at once that it was him. Hannes. Her voice was a mere whisper. You've come. She looked at him cautiously, as if she still could not believe that he was really here. His brown-black eyes as warm as the coals of a fire, his mouth a touch too large, but just right for a man with so much to say, the dark brown, unruly hair crowning his tall, powerful frame, the broad shoulders to lean on. In the bright light of that June morning, Hannes returned her gaze intently, almost as if he wanted to be certain that his decision to come back to Laichingen had been the right one. It wasn't easy for me. I couldn't shake you from my mind. I just could not accept that something that had not even started could already be over. What a declaration of love! Mimi had never heard more beautiful words. I couldn't stop thinking about you either, she admitted in a whisper. She wanted to nestle against him, but Hannes took her by the hand and led her to a corner of the garden between Joseph's little woodshed and the back of the studio, where no one could see them from the surrounding houses. In the shadows behind the studio, he finally took her in his arms. They held each other for a long, silent moment, enjoying each other's warmth and closeness. How did you even find me? She murmured. I went to the guest house in Ulm, where you'd spent the night, and asked the landlord if he knew where you were going next. At first he hesitated, but when I made it clear how important it was, he told me where you'd gone. You can imagine how I felt when I heard you'd left for Laichingen. Of all the places you could have traveled, you were in my old village. And you still came after me. Oh, Hannes,